In this episode of the RPG Workshop Newscast, Rune Factory explores romance options, cozy tabletop RPGs abound, and the future of Pokemon Go are just some of the news items I'll be talking about. Welcome to the RPG Workshop Newscast for the 2 weeks leading up to March 1st, 2025. I'm your host, David Montgomery Blake. You can find RPG Workshop on X, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, as well as our website at rpgworkshop.com. I have so many links in the show notes that I can usually only pick and choose some of the top ones to put in the limited podcast space, but you can always find the link to the latest full version of the show notes on rpgworkshop.com at the beginning of the notes. I've considered splitting it into multiple streams to facilitate the show notes better, but haven't decided to pull the trigger on that quite yet. I mean, this is just the second episode, and I'm still trying to figure all this out. If you have any comments, please do not hesitate to email me at contact@rpgworkshop.com. Also, if you have any news or press releases for upcoming RPG projects, drop me a line as well. Without further ado, let's get on with the news. Digital RPG News. Great Children, Deep Look by Michael Baker of RPG Gamer. Michael Baker of RPG Gamer takes a look at Stray Children, the latest game from Yoshiro Kimura, aka Onion Papa, the creator of inventive games like Moon, Dandy Dungeon, Tulip, and more. He highlights some of the gameplay features and difficulty a localization team would have bringing it to the West. Link is in the show notes. Rune Factory gets 16 new Bachelors and Bachelorettes. Marvelous Entertainment released 2 new trailers of the 16 Bachelors and Bachelorettes in their latest Rune Factory title. P.J. O'Reilly lays out the differences between the original Xenoblade Chronicles and the new Definitive Edition. So P.J. O'Reilly takes a deep dive into the changes in the new Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition that is coming out here soon on the Switch. And he takes a look at a lot of the things like high resolution support, revamped models, and user interface. Pokémon Presents will be hosted on February 27th. Last time that they've done it, they've announced like Pokemon Arceus and different titles, as well as looking at their collectible card releases. So should be a good time. Solasta 2 Preview. Solasta 2 is banking on the commercial success of RPGs like Baldur's Gate 3 to get fans interested in its tactical RPG goodness. With multiple ways to resolve conflicts and some beautiful graphics, Solasta 2 is looking pretty good so far. Game vouchers will not work on the Switch 2. So game vouchers will only work on the current Switch. So if you've been stockpiling them so that you can get new games on Switch 2, unfortunately, they will not be honored. So start using them on excellent games like Xenoblade Chronicles and 1, 2, and 3, as well as the add-on content. Though you can't use them on the add-on content, but you can pick up some of their best games over on the Switch, usually for less than the $60 or $70 because the voucher is for $50, and so you can usually get a good 20% off or $20 off, and that's so much better than you ever get, especially for Nintendo titles. Otome RPG: The Silent Kingdom available on Steam Early Access. The Silent Kingdom enters Steam Early Access. The game currently includes prologue and 3 chapters for early adopters. The player takes on a role of Princess Aranith, which I'm probably completely messing that up, but takes on the role of Princess Aranis, who must take on the world and a goddess to save her kingdom from a curse. This is the list of role-playing games that are coming out within this 2-week period, and most of them will be out by the time this is published, so jump on in and enjoy. Avowed, February 18th. Avowed is set in the same world as the Pillars of Eternity games, but takes place in a first-person perspective similar to Skyrim. Cabernet, February 16th. Cabernet is a 2D narrative RPG from the developer Party of Introverts. It is a vampire tale set in the late 19th century Europe. Tribe 9, February 20th. Tribe 9 is a free-to-play action RPG in the vein of Zenless Zone Zero with Danganronpa vibes. It is a mobile and PC game this time. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. People were surprised when the Yakuza series transitioned to turn-based combat, and the weirder it got, the more people loved it. So here's yet another strange entry that people will no doubt enjoy. After washing up on a beach, Goro Majima loses his memory and puts together a group of pirates. Yes, really. Parapetea, and I know I screwed that up. Early access, February 21st. One of the most visually stunning and artistic RPGs I've seen in a while. Parapetea is similar to Thief with RPG trappings from what I've seen in the screenshots. I haven't picked up the demo, but it's available on Steam. RPG Maker With, February 21st. RPG Maker With will release on PlayStation 4 and 5 and will let players play games created on the Switch versions. Undarkness Demo, February 24th. Now, normally I would not include a demo in a game release, but I am a massive Megaten fan, and Undarkness is a game created by Shoji Meguro, the lead composer behind the Persona series, and he's releasing a demo of his upcoming sci-fi tactical RPG project, Undarkness. The demo shows off a vertical slice of the gameplay and stylish UI you've come to expect from a game in the Persona series, which I know it's not Persona, but man, it looks nice and stylish like the Persona games. Tabletop RPG News. Shadowrun and Battletech magazines looking for fiction submissions. New Shadowrun and Battletech magazines are looking for fiction submissions. They pay 6 cents a word and recommend between 3,000 and 5,000 words per story. See the official guidelines in the show notes for more information. Charles Dunwoody at N-World interviews Dave Kizza about his new game, Heaven's Open Door. Heaven's Open Door was recently backed on Kickstarter and will continue its journey on BackerKit. The game makes use of Monkey Studios' Lazarus RPG system. Charles Dunwoody talks to Dave Kizia about all of the ins and outs of his new game. RiverBank will release in April. CRPG RiverBank will launch in April. It has a BackerKit page dedicated to it as well. From the game description, it just sounds absolutely amazing. In the RiverBank game, you join an intelligent society of anthropomorphic animals and enter their life of cake and tea time by the slow part of the river. Here, the charm of cottagecore meets the whimsy of sophisticated critters as they navigate the intricacies and often the bedlam of polite animal society. Weave farcical or dramatic tales of elegant characters on curious quests as you celebrate friendships, navigate social niceties, and weather the unique dynamics of animal life. Attend tea parties, stroll through the gardens, dance at fancy balls, and win the prize at the village fair, all while trying to dodge difficult relatives and keep a stiff upper lip. Doesn't that just sound absolutely amazing? And I guess this is Cozy Tabletop RPG Game News Week because I also found Pretty Fairy Princesses on itch.io from creator Jack Rosetree. From the description, the game uses an original cooperative card dealing mechanic for checks that can be played with minimal prep. All you need is a deck of playing cards and some optional but highly encouraged magic wands. Also from itch.io, I found Nathan D. Paoletta's RPG Design Zine, which is a pretty solid zine dedicated to designing interesting scenarios for your RPG games. It's generic enough to be useful for a number of systems as well. Also from itch.io, Xeno and Craft created a nice 2-page adventure design cheat sheet, and it's pretty slick. It does a great job at covering the basics in a quick and easily digestible form. Game development news. Viktor Antonov has passed away. His work spanned from Redneck Rampage to Half-Life 2 and Dishonored. Carter Lipscomb has also passed away. He worked in QA, marketing, and business development at Maxis, GameTech, and Iron Galaxy, among others. Now, for one of the saddest parts of this, layoffs, mergers, and acquisitions. And remember, this is just in the last 2-week period from the last episode. So it's already getting pretty scary here in 2025. Post Interactive cuts majority of staff and closes their offices. It was known for its VR titles, Richie's Plank Experience, and Max Mustard. Prior to US layoffs, Marvel Rivals has topped 40 million players. Co-director of Path of Exile, Chris Wilson, has left Grinding Gear Games. Netflix has terminated staff at Night School Studio. The studio is most known for its title Oxenfree. Liquid Swords has laid off several employees in an attempt to create a sustainable work model, which sadly is business speak for sustaining less workers. Their unannounced title is a hard-boiled revenge story using the Unreal Engine. Bossa Games has cut an unknown number of staff. They had previously cut their staff down to 40 people in 2023. NetEase will support overseas studios after laying off Marvel Rivals developers, but is still in the process of determining the viability of different studios. Funko Fusion, as much as I wanted to love it, was a commercial and a critical failure, and 1010 Games is laying off the dev team in response. In a surprise to absolutely no one, Phoenix Labs is ending support for their monster hunting game Dauntless in May, after shuttering most of their studio after layoffs. All right, now just on to the regular news. I didn't want to leave on such a bad point like I did last time. Square Enix removes the iOS version of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles from the App Store. When Apple changed its App Store purchasing model, it seems that Square Enix's Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles was caught in the crossfire. Customers are unable to restore previous purchases, and because of the changes to the purchase structure, it cannot be fixed, so they've decided to shutter the game. Unity reports downturn in revenue. Unity reports a downturn in revenue, but says there is progress in their rebuilding initiative. Pokemon Go maker Niantic in talks to sell their game portfolio to Scopely. So Pokemon Go is made by Niantic, and they are in talks to sell their game portfolio to Scopely for $3.5 billion. Scopely was purchased by a Saudi Arabian investment group, Savvy Games Group, in 2023, and they continue to expand their reach into gaming and esports. Nintendo discontinues Gold Points reward program. Nintendo is discontinuing its Gold Points reward program on March 24th. Gamers will be able to use their existing gold points for a year after the cutoff, but will not be able to earn more. What I'm playing: Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. I wasn't quite at the end. I'd forgotten that I was stuck at the Soul of Baramos and needed to grind. So I'm near the end, but not quite there. But I'm also so sick of grinding right now when I could actually be playing another game and having fun. Which is unfortunately why I often stop playing RPGs near the end of the game, even though with just a few more hours of grinding, I could beat them. But at that point, grinding XP in Tekken 8 is more entertaining because I'm playing against computer AI and not just spamming attack while running around in circles, hoping for high XP random encounters in later, more dangerous areas. Star Ocean Second Story R. Speaking of grinding, I'm at the end of Star Ocean Second Story R as well. And I'm currently grinding in this game also to finish off the last of the 10 Wise Men. And boy, is it a grind. My fingers are tired from spamming the attack buttons. Goofy story about how bad I am at games. I had read the instructions on assault actions, but I never actually used them until about 3/4 of the way through the game. I was concentrating on grinding if I had trouble with bosses. And then when I realized I'd been missing out on using them, the battles became way easier. But I still need to grind to finish off the last battle, and like Dragon Quest III, I really don't want to. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. I finally picked up Shin Megami Tensei Vengeance, and since I am less than halfway through the Switch version of the original game, I started on the canon creation path so I could get through the initial game first and then hit up canon of vengeance path later. Right now, I'm about 2 hours in and chatting up every demon I run across and try and fill out my roster. If I bounce off Star Ocean and Dragon Quest, I might jump back into Persona 2 Innocent Sin on the PSP. It has been forever, but I really enjoyed it when I played it back in the day. I've thought about the original Persona, but it's much more difficult to jump back into. And I already finished the Snow Queen quest forever ago, so it would primarily be for nostalgia's sake. At some point, I really need to go back to Baldur's Gate 3 as well, but not right now. Featured game. The featured game for this 2-week period is Etrian Odyssey. Etrian Odyssey is a grid-based dungeon crawler that harkens back to the time of wizardry and Bard's Tale and Eye of the Beholder. The player creates a party of adventurers and enters a vast world filled with dangerous enemies and exciting treasures. The graphics are tight and the map marking features were a lot of fun. While it did not have a strong narrative flow in the first game, it was nonetheless a lot of fun to play. It had some challenging battles and interesting townies sending me on interesting quests. The first 3 games have been remastered for the Nintendo Switch. Featured tutorial. I decided to add a featured tutorial section because I run into so many excellent tutorials online. For this one, I chose a Udemy class by Cobra Code. It is the ultimate 2D top-down Unreal Engine course. It's basically a top-down tutorial that will show you how to create an HD 2D style game. You know, like Dragon Quest III Remake or Octopath Traveler. There are 3 examples presented: a top-down Pokemon-esque game, an action RPG, and a 2.5D hybrid. I'm not sure if it's on sale right now, but it usually goes on sale every few days. So wait for a sale and enjoy. Well, that's it for this episode of the RPG Workshop Newscast. I really enjoyed doing this, and I hope that you got something out of it too. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at contact@rpgworkshop.com. And remember, you can follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Blue Sky as well. So until next time, keep your RPG dreams going.